Salve galera, sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo do canal e hoje eu vou trazer para vocês então um compiladinho das batalhas que o James Deane venceu, algumas ali que acabou também perdendo, para também não ficar meio estranho pular de uma etapa para outra do nada. Então eu fiz um resuminho compilando todas as etapas certinho, todas as batalhas que o James Deane teve, que ele participou, grande parte que ele venceu, algumas que vai ser a última da etapa ele acabou perdendo. Eu trago o resuminho ali onde é que ele acabou ficando aquela etapa, para você entender como é que foi então toda essa jornada, essa construção, essa trajetória, para ele se tornar então pentacampeão, campeão da temporada 2025 da Fórmula Drift, o único que conquistou esse título 5 vezes, né? Ele também tinha sido o único a conquistar 4 vezes, nesse ano tinha a chance do Asmo empatar, por exemplo, nessa quantidade de títulos e ficar no mesmo nível do James Deane, mas acabou que o James mais uma vez se colocou acima dos caras e além de estar só um degrau acima, né? Ele ser tetracampeão e o resto não. Ele tá 2 degraus agora, com uma grande vantagem, sendo o único pentacampeão. Cara que não tem como dizer que não, cara. É o drifteiro aí, né? O piloto de drift de maior sucesso que a gente teve na história. Isso é incontestável. Então bora dar uma olhada em como foi as batalhas e como foi parte desse sucesso que ele teve então em 2025 para se tornar o pentacampeão. Antes de começar o vídeo, deixa aquele like que fortalece demais aí, dá um trabalhão fazer essa edição aí pra vocês, tá bom? Também se inscreve aí no canal, ativa o sininho, quem tá no telefone clica no hypar aí que ajuda bastante e comenta aqui comigo qual que é a tua batalha favorita dessas que a gente trouxe no vídeo, né? Qual que é a melhor batalha que o James Deane teve no ano? Lembrando que eu tô falando sobre o título. Então a gente, por exemplo, não vai trazer a última etapa Long Beach 2, porque o James Deane já era campeão. A gente vai até a batalha que decidiu, que definiu Penta-Campeonato por irlandês. Então, sem mais delongas, bora pro vídeo.
James Machine Deane, your defending Formula Drift champion, throws it into that first outside zone, touches that what I said, just kissing it. James Deane, look at Ryan Little, he is right there tucked in, he knows, talking about that 100-point run, that's what James Deane, a straight need, a correction, was there contact, we will run it back. Here we go, Ryan Little's out front, that contact, he disrupted James Deane, he was in that hot pocket, got a low burn. Here we go, they let it cool. Ryan Little gets out, he taps it, using all the course. James Deane, unfortunately, he didn't get to that second outside zone. There goes James Deane now, he's in the pocket, that's alternate position, Literal goes for it on that inside clip. Really good execution. What a way to start Formula Drift 2025. Being love how he does it. So here we go. Push comes to shove. Let's shove it into that first outside zone. That AutoZone penalty RTR in that first outside zone. Boom, right there. Black clockwork. Back and forth. Ping pongs. Under the bridge. Outside zone 3. There it goes out. Reaching into that last inside clip. Beecham dives in. Just kind of backs on it. Let's see how James Deane keeps his composure here. Goes in initiation in that first outside zone. Beecham gets all the way out. Look at James. He comes up a bit short. Oh! Shreds that back fight. Right into that third outside zone. James Deane gets right into the pocket. Smoked out. And there's James Deane now. So look. Dang. I tried. Yeah, get in my office. Okay, step out. You're fired. Yeah, thank you. All right, here we go. James Deane back in the action. James Deane going against that of Connor Shanahan, all Irish battle. And there's James Deane. Puts it right there in the outside zone 3, transitioning into that inside clip. Just, I mean, like, I know. What? This is bragging rights at the pub tonight. Connor Shanahan initiates. James Deane right there. Initiating. Shanahan gets all the way out there. Almost taps bumper, the tiny little bumper. Brings it under the bridge. Here comes James Deane. Watch this. He's going to sink in the sword. The Mustang diving in the side of his fellow countryman. Now bringing in that final inside clip. Barely just nudges that inside clip. James Machine Deane, 4-time first ever champ. Initiates, Adam LZ in tow. Saw him do a little correction there. There he's getting all the way out there. Transitions under the... Look at that magic. Just slides it on back. Boom! Barely taps that Mustang tail light and bumper. Comes in that last and final inside clip. Textbook. But Adam LZ was right there. On, here we go. Adam LZ getting the clean air. Drift HQ. James Deane, look at him tucked in. Is he going to be put him to bed? Adam LZ comes up short. Here goes James Deane. Adam LZ needs to force a mistake for James Deane. That is a very hard ask, and look at that. Oh my gosh. wherever you go. And here we go. We are about to send it. James Deane, Frederick Osmo, one more time. James the Machine Deane initiates in the outside zone. Boom, right there, once again, just like clockwork. Back at it. Look at Frederick Osmo. He's backing in hard. That disrupts Frederick Osmo quite a bit. Osmo had to back off. Didn't know if there was contact. As we get absolute warriors of Formula Drift. Frederick Osmo goes in and initiates. James Deane, he's in touch. Look at James shaking up. This is a James we have not seen at all. And Frederick continues on. James Deane transitions into that final inside clip. So taking a look at that, I am wildly surprised that neither of them. He is not just going to hand it to him. There are no team orders. Knowing Vaughn and knowing James Deane, as some mud is being thrown up, James Deane comes and swings wide on that inside clip. Look at Vaughn twisting the screws on James Deane, the four-time champion and defending champion. James Deane brings it all the way out. They know what each driver is capable of. They know the car setup. They know what to expect, and now they're putting on a show for you. Come on now, send it, baby. RTR, Ford Mustangs here at Road Atlanta. 2025. Holy cow, what a big jump here. Vonkin Jr. out front, tip the tail. Yes, sir, big angle there. Vonkin Jr. goes in tight on the inside clip, now transitioning, pulling that front right off the ground. The RTR, the Nitto tires on the corners into that third outside zone, and here we are once again. Boom, Vonkin Jr. hits that inside clip. James, he narrowly lets him pass. He lets him on through, but James back to the side of the other Ford Mustang, bringing it on home. Let them know you're here. The conditions could be a variable that could equalize the vehicles here. Again,
a partir dessa batalha, top 16 começou a chover, e aí deu uma diminuída, claro, no nível, mas essa batalha a gente vai resumir praticamente esses erros que o Jeff Jones teve na primeira volta. Para somar, o Jeff Jones fez uma lead quase imperseguível, horrível. Então uma batalha que acho que não vale a gente perder tempo para assistir. É óbvio que o James Deane avançou aqui.
In that Ford Mustang Spec 5 FD. We saw how good he is in the wet, we know it, but Matfield stepped up and he rose to the occasion. Rain continues to come down, an all-American battle, but an Irishman behind the wheel of the Mustang, filling all of that second outside zone, coming into the third. James Deane, I mean, it's like it's not even raining. It is raining, R-E-I-G-N. For James Deane right now, owning the track, but Matfield, the beast of the Bay, really giving it all. And he is hanging in there. I'll tell you what, look, it is persistent. Yeah. So now Matfield will have the clean air. James Deane's a real threat in the chase position, but has he driven against Matt in the wet? Here we go, Matfield initiates. Oh wow, what a good sweeping entry by Matfield. James Deane giving a little bit of room, but did he give him too much? Now coming to the second outside zone? Nope, he did not, because he reeled him in like a big mouth bass. Now into that third outside zone, flirting with the edge of the track goes Matfield, dials it in. James Deane, he is giving himself too much of a buffer because Matfield, that Borla Heatwave Lean Customs Corvette is hitting the marks. And here comes James Deane, again, a defending champion of battle.
Nessa semifinal, essa primeira batalha que teve empate foi porque os dois erraram muito. Na lançada, o James Deane passou bastante do ponto, perdeu muito momentum. E o Castro na liderança, encaixa essa caixa vindo pro inside clip, ele faz a mesma coisa praticamente, né? Perde muita velocidade, né, ao invés de passar do ponto, mas perde muito momentum e atrapalha o perseguidor. Então os dois tiveram esses erros aí, andaram mal e aí foi pro empate. Só que aí no desempate o Castro se emocionou, rodou sozinho e mamou.
Castro, the first outside zone coming down the hill, the iconic Road Atlanta. The rooster tail off the back of the Supra, the Ford Mustang into that inside clip. Bringing a little wide there is Frederick Osmo, now back up the hill, snapping transition. The X Factor is what they're looking for. Into that second outside zone, now bringing into the third outside zone. Coming into the keyhole, James Deane with a little bit more angle. That seems to be his move. He really flirts with the edge of the track, and now coming outside of the keyhole. They were in there once thinking we had a victor. A little bit of technology went a long way, and now coming back at that inside clip. Now 2025, James Deane leads. The Type S lights are on in the Type S finals. Coming past that inside clip for the second one more time, the third battle between these two guys. Frederick Osmo got the win in Long Beach, got the win here last year. James Deane, the defending champion, comes into that outside zone number 3. Pass an inside clip, absolutely on it. Frederick Osmo chases him down, hunts him down like a big game mantelpiece. Let's see what taxidermy, if we're gonna have a Mustang or a Supra hanging on the wall. Now past that last outside.
E assim como na batalha de antes, que teve empate em Atlanta, que eu deixei só a última batalha que foi a decisão, em que o James Deane perdeu na final pro Asbo, aqui também eu só vou trazer o momento que deu cagada, né? Top 32, o Austin Mata sai da pista aqui com as 4 rodas e vai de arrasta pra cima. Então a gente pula do top 32 direto pro top 16, porque aqui o James Deane nem sofreu.
Snap and send it, boom. James the Machine Deane initiates into the bank. There he goes, initiating that first outside zone. The sun is set and drop behind the bank. Boom, sun, never heard of her. Here we go, James the Machine Deane in that first outside zone. Drops down to that first inside clip into the power alley. Good transition. Snappy right to angle by James the Machine Deane. RCP slides in that chase. James Deane out there, no problem for him. Set it and forget it, puts it right in the crease. I have to attribute it to that, but now he's got the clean air. But you got James Deane in your rear view mirror. Look at that, Rome initiates, tight. And look at James, not backing down. He looked like he delayed it a little bit, but now coming down with this first inside clip, a little tap of the brakes there from RCP. But here comes James the Machine Deane as RCP gonna take down James Deane. Look at Rome Charpentier diving in, well done by RCP up front. James a little delayed on that initiation. Did RCP? It's ended at 32. Here goes James Deane initiating in that auto zone Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD Novak, transitioning nicely against the champ into that second outside zone. Novak just trying to shove around. Is that too much? Gonna need to see that overhead view, get some real dynamic angles here, looking more like a video game here, and we're just gonna need the assist, might be what takes you out, because Novak being aggressive, he had to back off, ended up hurting him more than it did helping him being that aggressive. Novak now coming to the second outside zone, he's gonna try to put down a blazing run. James Deane tucks it nicely, knows his track, like I said, winner last year. Can he go back-to-back here in New Jersey? Past that inside clip, gives him enough room to go ahead and get that initiation. Look at Novak digging deep. Look at the angle. Yeah. Look out. Here comes RCP, Rome Charpentier in that lead position. There goes James Deane in that big Mustang, chasing him down. That little 1 Series BMW now into that outside zone. And now coming, let's see how they handle this inside clip. The one and only, almost touching tires there. Little left foot brake there from RCP. That is a momentum zone on the transition. RCP gets in the dirt. Whoa, we are doing tandem, riding the hood. And that was a new one. Man, he is ripping off that line. See the car like already sideways on this, like not even on initiation, just drag race into that first outside zone. RCP, he's got a lost his hood defender, courtesy of the contact there. But look at him, he is throwing it to the door. RCP giving it all to James the Machine Deane in that last outside zone. RCP gets involved with dirt, makes hero. Coincidentally, across the nose of that Ford Mustang. Might not want to do that. If you saw RCP's BMW, he might attack. All right, here we go. Here we go into that second outside zone. James Deane tucks in nicely. Look at him mimicking the angle here, throwing it in, and you can see him looking that, working that left brake, that left foot brake, right? James Deane now brings it on into the last one. Hero Manoa almost getting eaten by the Mustang. Okay, he tapped that cone, but it didn't go out of place. So James Deane, big entry there from James Deane, almost gets lost in smoke, burying him in the smoke. Into that second outside zone. There goes James Deane. I mean, he's getting, oh! Hero is fighting back. He is nipping at his ankles right now. The Rugrat is fighting back. Yeah, he might be 15, but he carries big angle. Now, arguably, unarguably, some of the best drifters in the world. Frederick Osmo initiates that first outside zone. James takes a different approach on that chase position. In the second outside zone goes Freddie. Flirts with the white line on the outside of the outside zone. Now let's see this transition. Boom, right past it. And now going to that last outside zone. There goes Freddie and James in tow. Goes to the finals. Who's going to be? Are we going to have Victor? James Deane, nasty initiation. Came out of it just a little bit. You saw this again. Just knowing how capable James Deane is, you can't make those mistakes. This is what I'm talking about. You know, you got to almost force a mistake on the other side, but we know how perfect these guys are. Now coming at last outside zone, snappy. There's that X factor. Going at last outside zone, massive angle from James Deane. And it's still hung on. FD champion, James Machine Deane.
Bom, na primeira batalha em St. Louis, o James Deane pegou a Fiorella. E é aquilo que a gente já espera, né? Uma chase conturbada da Ferrari, cortando tudo que dá. aquele toque extra de se perder nas transições, se posicionar meio mal, né? E aí uma chase realmente bem abaixo. E na liderança teve esse momento que ele deu uma correção meio estranha, uma meio que freada no meio do caminho, atrapalhando aí o James Deane. E aí óbvio que o James leva a vitória.
James Machine Deane defending an only 4-time FD champion. Tip to tail, initiating goes James Deane. Look at that, just bang, that right to angle. Fires off into that second outside zone. Ryan Turk knows he can trust James Deane. He knows where he's going to go. He knows what to expect. He is, I mean, hence the name, the machine. Just absolutely on rails. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. That outside zone 4, it's on. So now Ryan Turk out front. He's got the clean air coming into this first outside zone. Tit for tat right there. Ryan Turk initiates. James Deane tucks in. He was right there. And actually, he was even deeper in that first outside zone. Good proximity, but I'll tell you what, doesn't mimic the exact angle of Ryan Turk and that hot hatchback. Coming that last outside zone. Ryan Turk does it. Execute flawlessly. Well done. A clean start. James Deane getting the clean air, initiates into that Pennzoil Platinum Ford Mustang. Now transitioning in that second outside zone. Rome Charpentier dives in, dives forward, a little shallow there now to outside zone 3. Settled is that Ford Mustang. Just on rails, exactly what we'd expect and anticipate. Going to paint for James Deane to chase him down. Here comes that garagistic BMW into that first outside zone. You can see James Deane getting to the side of that BMW, just letting him transition right in front of him. And James Deane, look at him, just kind of bowling around, push him around. Looks like a little body panel came off RCP's vehicle in James Deane's face. Now bringing it on home. Look at that. I mean, Frederick Osbo will lead. James the Machine Deane giving chase. There it is across the nose once again for Frederick in that first outside zone. James Deane unfazed, drops into formation. Look at that, like an absolute ballerina. Rock and roll ballet. Into that third outside zone goes Frederick Osbo. James Deane in formation. That right-hand drive Ford Mustang riding shotgun with Freddie Osbo and cross the finish. All right, that Pennzoil Ford Mustang coming into that first outside zone. Big angle from him, almost getting to the edge of that course, but that dirt will bite back. Contrary to popular belief, the gravel machine gun does hurt. Now James Deane, that Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Ford Mustang into outside zone 3. Frederick Osbo, is he mimicking that angle? Leaving it in the judge's hands, pulling across the line. Frederick Osbo spins. Here comes Jack Shanahan in tow in that BMW. James Deane across the nose of Shanahan. Shanahan drops back, slides back. Great angle from James Deane. Again, no tomfoolery, but Jack Shanahan dives in the inside. That is not where you want to be. Looks like he is buffering here in this situation. James Deane keeps pace. He knows exactly what he needs to do. Goes in outside zone 4. Textbook once again. Hence the name, the machine. We know that an Irishman is going to win. Is it going to be Jack Shanahan on his rookie year getting a victory? Or is James the Machine Deane going to live up to his name once again and assume the tie for the points lead after round 5? Going to outside zone 3. Jack Shanahan puts it in the right place. James Deane tucks in nicely. James Deane applying the pressure. Looks like, again, he's not going to make a mistake. It looks like James Deane will be earning that victory.
Like 30 miles an hour on the infield. How are you setting up the car? Are you strategizing for more of the bank or more of the infield?
We're trying to do both, you know, and what's cool here is that the bank, there's a lot of grip on the bank, and we can't run maximum mechanical grip because of that banking. But in turn 2, you can. So we're using a bunch of NASCAR tricks. We're trying to make the car follow that dynamic track and make it easy to drive while still having the grip we need to.
Buddy, I mean, a lot of these drivers, and you've seen it, Drift Masters, FD, and look at that, just dropping in formation, a little waggle there, but then boom, finds the sweet spot. Ken Dushi, he's putting down the heat of a run right now. He did exactly what you anticipated, Jacob. He put down a great lead run, going to that power rally. I like to call it the Power Boulevard because we have widened it 2 lanes, went from 2 to 4. Both on the outside zone 2 and 3, past that inside clip, transitioning down to outside zone 4, the unforgiving wall, fighting back. Gucci did exactly what he needed to do. Let's go. James Machine Deane and Brandon Sorensen. James Deane initiates high end of the bank. Brandon Sorensen tucks right in, right out of the gate. James Deane, you can see a little correction with that wheel, that right-hand drive Mustang. Look at Brandon Sorensen, right in that cockpit, exploding that back bumper off. Coming to that second outside zone to the power alley, the power boulevard, into that third outside zone. Brandon Sorensen has to dive back just a little bit. Now he's going to tuck in on this last outside zone, try to establish some dominance. I mean, just an absolute weapon and just an all-around nice guy. Brandon Sorensen initiates, James Deane tucks in. Would like to see him tuck back a little bit there, but look at the proximity. James the Machine Deane right there on the door of the BMW. Both of them doing very similar tasks. Brandon Sorensen really exceeding that track line and James Deane now tucks in Sorensen. Really good execution and placement on that third as James gives him a little hate tap, not a love tap. You hate to see it, but you love to see it at the same time. Just go for it, man. Biscuit for the biscuit. Here we go. James Deane initiates, four-time defending champion. James Deane, 2 wins already this year. Can he do it again? Most recently, previous round of competition. James Deane, that Pennzoil, Ford Mustang, Masayama tucks in. Again, he has that approach where he gives enough room and then drops in an outside zone 3. Didn't exactly pay off, but give himself enough room. But you cannot give James Deane that kind of... James Spotter's probably like, just give it the beans, man. Come on now. Here we go. The machine drops into formation. Masayama looks very good. James Deane, both the cars. It looks like a photo. Looks like a still photo. The smoke billowing out into that power alley. Now watch this transition. You see James dip back, drops in, gives him a little bit of room. Like to gain that back, and now flick both them into that last outside zone. And to take out James Deane, that is huge. He's a giant killer, and he's done it before. James Machine Deane initiates. Adam LZ in the chase position. Look at James Deane, a little left foot brake. Adam LZ definitely modifying and massaging that vehicle to the side of James Deane. Through that power alley goes James. Adam LZ absolutely marinated in the smoke like brisket. Into that third outside zone. Now dialing in on the inside clip. Adam LZ struggle bus, population him. He's driving that thing. And then into that last outside zone. Let's send it! Adam LZ initiates across the nose of that Pennzoil. Mustang RTR Spec 5 FD. Adam LZ knows what to expect. James Deane, his one-time teammate. And look at that, both the cars very settled. The composure, rock solid into that third outside zone. James, a little hesitation going in. He dials it back just a touch in that last outside zone. James timed that perfectly. Drop it into formation. Adam, send it! Both those phones and light up the day. Here it comes. James Machine Deane transitioning that outside zone. Now a little bit lower than James Deane and a little less angle. James locked and loaded, dialed in. Coming now into that power alley goes James, now transitioning into the third. Matt drops into formation. Look how deep James Deane is. Absolutely backing in all the way up to that Nitto tire, into the wall, and brings it on home. You know what's going to do it right now? Matt Field or James Deane. Here are the finals. Matt initiates. Where's James? James is way down there on the bank. Matt is leaving it all out on the track. Wreckers or checkers for Matt Field. Going to this power alley. He straightens out quite a bit. He goes off course. Matt Field finds himself on the wrong side of the line.
And yeah, we'll see how this plays out.
James Deane is the car 100%. We know what the driver is capable of. Past an inside clip, Andy Haley could play spoiler here, but James Deane wants to continue his success into that outside zone 3. Look at the placement of the car. Andy Haley, no pushover at all. The Drift Wizard using his sorcery. But James Deane, the car looks 100 right now. Well done by James Deane. Andy Haley, the Drift Wizard here in the Evil Auto Works BMW. First outside zone, past an inside clip. Outside zone 3. Did he hit that red and white? Again, maybe tap it, just kind of like the dirt. And speaking of the dirt, 1, a 2, a 3. That is going to be very unfortunate for Andy Haley. I believe James Deane will reap the rewards there. Outside zone 4, he brings it all together. The Evil Auto Work, James the Machine Deane out front. Again, this is a must-win for James Deane to advance on. But if James Deane wins, Osmo is out of championship contention. James Deane into that third outside zone, that Pennzoil RTR Spec 5 FD. Now to that final outside zone, Novak. Not as pressure-filled is that BMW. Will Nick Novak take down another multiple-year champion? Nick Novak initiates. James Deane not giving him an inch. Into that second outside zone goes Novak. Now transitioning into the third. James a little more tempered approach. Look, he let him go, and now he drops in. Sinks in the sword. But it's not a weapon, but it is. It's a Ford Mustang on the side of Nick Novak. Look at him chasing him down. Yeah, would love to see Forsberg on the box. I haven't seen him up there in a bit, and he would love to twist the screws on James Deane. James Deane initiates in that Pennzoil RTR Ford Mustang into that third outside zone. Forsberg takes a tighter line. James gets out to the outside zone 3. Forsberg massages it on back. Now brings it outside zone 4.
and outside zone 4, both of them executed properly. Good placement by James Deane.
About a must-lose for the other guys in order for James Deane to be another champion. But right now, it's all Forsberg out front and James Deane in tow. That third outside zone. There goes Forsberg. James Deane takes some angle out of it to gain that proximity. Gets into formation outside zone 3, and there it is in outside zone 4. Forsberg, great placement by him. Look at Forsberg painting that line in that NOS energy drink. All new Z. Let's send it for a potential championship run for James the Machine Deane. This Penzo Mustang RTR Spec 5. FD, James Deane goes into that second outside zone, into the third outside zone. Adam LZ cuts in on the inside, drops right into formation with James Deane now going at oh, looks like Adam LZ just went a little bit off. Now he dives into the inside. Adam LZ fights back. James keeps his car where the rubber meets the road and the middle tire. Will he be your 2025 Formula Drift Pro Champion? Adam LZ would love to take him down across the nose of that Ford Mustang. Goes to Drift HQ BMW. Into that inside clip. James Deane, a little tighter line. Now to outside zone 3 goes Adam. Big angle from Adam LZ. Hanging it all the way out there goes Adam. James Deane drops into formation. Watch the transition. One last outside zone for glory for James the Machine Deane. Does he get it done? We got wheels off. We got tires off. We have dirt action.
E é isso, né, moçada? Depois dessa batalha aí, que era semifinal contra o Adam LZ, o James Deane já era pentacampeão. Tanto que na outra batalha que ele teve depois contra o Matt Field, que teve um acidente com o Dylan Hughes, que o Dylan montou em cima do Corvette, que foi horrível até a batalha porque o Matt Field não conseguiu performar, eles já estavam chamando o James Deane pentacampeão na própria transmissão. Então, de fato, concluir a jornada do campeão foi nessa última batalha contra o Adam LZ, na penúltima da etapa de Utah. Mas a última em questão dessa história, desse recorte, desse capítulo, que é o Penta-Campeonato James Deane. Então, espero que vocês tenham curtido o vídeo. Se gostou, deixa aquele like, ajuda demais. Se inscreve no canal, ativa o sininho. Comenta aqui comigo qual que é a tua batalha favorita dessas que a gente trouxe aí no vídeo. Também comenta se você quer que eu traga aí dos demais campeonatos, né? As batalhas aí, a jornada, o caminhar, né? Toda essa loucura, essa missão de ser campeão que a gente tem, por exemplo, da Fórmula Drift Japan com o Takahashi, se eu não me engano. Tem lá a Drift Masters com o Conor Shanahan, aqui com o Brasil com o João Barion. E se der tudo certo, mais pra frente um pouquinho aí com o Thomas Moss em Portugal. Então deixa aí, né? Comenta comigo se vocês gostaram desse tipo de conteúdo. A gente traz então das outras competições da temporada 2025. Firmeza? Então passados os recados. Muito obrigado mais uma vez a todo mundo que assistiu o vídeo até o final. Eu sou o Camatti, vou ficando por aqui e até a próxima. Valeu e fui!